Yeah, amazing. MonClima is a SUDOE Interreg project. It is a cross-border project between France, Spain, Portugal, and Andorra, which is in the middle of the Pyrenees. And this is a project that was created from the awareness and the conviction that mountain areas are among the territories most affected by natural hazards, and these risks are expected to increase due to the effects of climate change in the following years. We are talking about more severe droughts, higher average temperatures, and changes in the rainfall patterns. These are all things that happen as well as in the Alps and in the mountains of the Mediterranean. In addition, these risks do not respect administrative limits. So we believe that we need to have transnational coordination. These indeed can be more effective as compared to the individual actions of each of these territories. With MonClima, we wanted to strengthen a risk-based approach to climate change across border level in the southwestern mountains of Europe. This is, as I said before, a multi-risk-based approach, and it depends on human activities, so it's something dynamic. And we need to have a cross-border cooperation. We have to improve the knowledge on the management of natural climate risk in mountain areas. We wanted to implement pilot cases to improve knowledge on natural risk prevention and management strategies. We also wanted to define a transnational strategic framework with recommendations for the mountain areas, and then we wanted to transfer risk prevention and management tools in mountain areas to priority stakeholders. There are stakeholders who have to manage risks in mountains. This is the work group 1, which is based on the capitalization of the existing good practices and instruments for the management and prevention of natural risks through 3 specific actions. The first consists of generating a database and a subsequent analysis of risk management and prevention practices in mountain areas in the SUDOE area, but with the specific criteria like good practices for the reduction of risk in mountain areas in synergy with the climate change, or taking climate change into account, integrating a multi-risk vision and a transnational spatial scale, as we learned a while ago. The second action consists of an analysis and sharing the main European mapping tools. We also have a database with explanatory sheets. And then we also carried out an analysis of the good practices. As I was saying before, we carried out an analysis and sharing of the main European mapping tools concerning the main areas that we're working on, which is floods, erosion, and fires. So we analyzed all the information that is available from other European projects, and we put it together in a map viewer. So we put in a single map all the information available in terms of evolution of these natural risks, vulnerability, and future projections. And then we also included detailed information concerning the 7 pilot cases that we analyzed inside the MONTCLIMA project. So this is the overview of the main layers capitalized in the MONTCLIMA map viewer. Here we've got fuel model map, potential erosion, drought frequency, and these are map details on the 5 MONTCLIMA pilot cases. Also, we analyzed the reference documents concerning the management and prevention of natural risks in these 4 countries. It is the so-called SUDOE region, because we wanted to see how these risks are managed in these 4 countries. We want to know where we start from. After the capitalization of information, we move to the main part of the MONTCLIMA project, which is what was developed by the Working Group 3, which is the implementation of 5 pilot cases throughout the SUDOE territory, with the aim of testing different prevention and management strategies for the 4 natural hazards under study. Each of these pilot cases focused on 1 risk only, but in the other cases, we also analyzed the other 4 pilot cases that integrated more than 1 risk at the same time, because we wanted to keep this multi-risk vision. Now, I would like to explain very quickly each of the 7 cases. The first one concerns the Rioja Alavesa, which consists of the implementation of different vineyard management strategies in an area of high viticultural interest, most of which is vulnerable to water erosion. We implemented 3 different soil strategies, and for these management strategies, we identified some measures to determine the level of erosion and the changes in the organoleptic or grape characteristics. We wanted to see whether they were more resistant to parasites. So these are the results. It's a summary. And we managed to we can conclude that the reduction of soil erosion in the case of conservative management or with a spontaneous plant cover is about 64% compared to conventional soil management. Then we have a second pilot case, which is in the northern Catalonia area. We adopted 2 different adaptive forest management strategies because we wanted to understand whether there was a climate resilience in this forest area. We also tried to analyze the reduction in the fires. This shows that the adaptive forest management strategy can increase the resilience of this area. And this is called a strategic management point. So why is it strategic? Because these points are strategic as the adaptive forestry actions carried out at this point are able to limit the further spread of a potential fire. Prevailing winds, effects of local orography, and they are also key access points for a better and risk-free firefighting by firefighters. During the trials, different variables have been controlled, among which humidity of the plants, the composition and the general health status of the treated plots, and in general terms, we can say that the moisture content is much higher as compared to the control plots. So there is a lower risk for fire. And generally speaking, there is an improvement. There is a better resistance to parasites. This is the summary. There are other two pilot cases in Andorra, which is a very small country in the Pyrenees with 70,000 inhabitants. The first of the pilot cases consists of enhancing the protective role of an area of mixed forest, which is near a playground, near Andorra la Vella, which is the main city of Andorra. And at the same time, enhancing its defensive role against the falling blocks, because this is an area where there are lots of blocks falling. So this is the intervention that we carried out, the measure that we carried out. And then there is the second Andorran pilot case, which is in an area, in a protected area. It is a natural park, and we carried out an infrastructure intervention. And here you can see that during rainfall episodes, there have been high erosion and mud flows that have affected the town's main water treatment plant. Interventions are complemented by campaigns of natural organic fertilization and sowing of native seeds. So first we installed the micro dams, and then we applied native seeds of plants that are very resistant. And then we fertilized the area. We applied the manure. We let animals do their droppings to make the soil fertile. And therefore, we carried out natural-based solutions to avoid erosion. Let's now move to the two pilot cases that we developed in France. The first consists of analyzing the evolution of the flood risk in an area of the Pyrenees that has recently been affected by a major fire. Very briefly, the action being developed here consisted in analyzing the state of knowledge on the impact of fires on forest vegetation and the consequences on erosion and torrential hazard. So we installed different sensors to monitor the evolution of soil erosion and the surface runoff. And all of this information allowed us to conclude that the areas where a potential forest fire would have the greatest impact on the risk of flooding and erosion are. So if we wanted to recover these areas, we need to start from the soil. This is for forest fires. And then there is a second pilot case in France, which consists of studying a torrential situation after a storm named Gloria. We used a measuring system before and after the storm, and we tried to identify the erosion phenomena with a high resolution. These are tools that are very interesting, very helpful to obtain detailed information after extreme events. They're very interesting to analyze the efficiency and the status of the protection infrastructures that are present in the basin. And they are used to prioritize actions. And the last French pilot case has been carried out in the French Pyrenees. It consists in the development of a multi-risk plan together with the other stakeholders in the Pyrenees, which is an area that is hit by events, the falling of blocks, landslides. So once we identified all of these risks, we developed a participatory project with different stakeholders, groups of interests, local authorities to identify the actions of this multi-risk plan. And also, we carried out a prioritization action because we wanted to prioritize actions because we cannot do everything at the same time. And work package 4 basically consisted of a series of transnational transfer seminars like the one of today, specifically dedicated to the different themes and risks being studied. And then there is an action that capitalizes all the information, all the products, all the results that have been obtained through SUDOE MONTCLIMA. We obtained this transnational strategic plan that we would like to develop. Actually, we are developing it by means of a participatory process. Which consists of taking advantage of all the good practices, including the analysis of these virtuous measures, the prevention of natural risks, together with all the lessons that we have learned in the 7 pilot cases. All the information that was gathered together thanks to the seminars and workshops that have been organized to disseminate information is very important. So we created a strategic framework based on strategic recommendations and operational recommendations. So our goal was to have a better prioritization of the actions to be implemented in our territory, in the SUDOE territory. We also prepared a strategy, a climate change adaptation strategy, which has been already approved by the 3 countries that are located in this area of the south of Europe. And we will also include the multi-risk vision to give a continuity to these works. Thank you very much.
Grazie mille.
Thank you very much, Juan. Thank you for speaking perfect Italian. Are there any questions? We have,
Ok, very quick. Grazie Juan. Una domanda, quindi ho visto che nel vostro...
Congratulations, your project is amazing. You have a multi-risk approach. In the first stage of capitalization of knowledge, you analyze the relations, did you analyze the relations between risks, between causes, between the hazards? And what levels did you analyze? This is a good question. The first working group focused on capitalization and tried to identify some tools some good practices, virtuous practices through European projects, departments of several regions on risk preventions that have developed an interesting model, putting all that together so that it could be analyzed, identified, analyzed, and create a database. It was not the aim of the project. We didn't want to try and find the relations between a forest fire or a flood risk. This was not the aim of this project because it is quite complex, very complex, by the way. If you include the climate variability and climate change. Thank you. Thank you very much, Juan. So we'll let you go because we know you are in a rush. Thank you. Thank you very much.